Heavy rain falling on the barracks at Camp Lejeune. A tough older Marine looking out the window. Slow, melancholic cello music starts. In the United States Marine Corps, they teach you that your rifle is your best friend, but they don't tell you that the man standing to your left and your right becomes your very soul. Gunnery Sergeant Marcus Thorne was a 20-year veteran of the Corps. He had the kind of eyes that had seen too much sand, too much blood, and too many folded flags. To the young recruits at Camp Lejeune, he was a ghost, a legend carved out of granite. But there was one young Marine who saw past the hardened exterior. Corporal Evan Cole. Cole was 19, a kid from a broken home in Ohio, who joined the Marines because he had nowhere else to go. He didn't have a father, so he found one in Gunny Thorne. Thorne was hard on him, harder than anyone else. He would make Cole run extra miles, clean his weapon until his knuckles bled, and pushed him to the absolute breaking point. Cole thought the Gunny hated him. He didn't know that Thorne was just trying to keep him alive. The deployment to Marjah, summer of 2010, Marjah, Afghanistan. The air tasted like copper and burning diesel. It was supposed to be a standard presence patrol through a seemingly abandoned market district. Cole was walking point, his hands sweating against the grip of his M16. Gunny Thorne was 10 paces behind him, his eyes scanning the rooftops, his instincts screaming that something was wrong. An improvised explosive device tore through the lead vehicle. The shock wave threw Cole into the air, slamming him against a concrete wall. Before the dust could even settle, the sky rained fire. PKM machine gun fire tore through the market walls. It was a complex ambush, and they were caught right in the kill zone. Cole was pinned behind a crumbling mud brick wall. A piece of shrapnel had torn through his right leg. He was bleeding fast, his vision blurring. The enemy fire was so heavy, the air literally looked like it was vibrating. He was cut off from the squad. He closed his eyes, thinking of his empty home in Ohio, waiting for the end, the sacrifice of a father. But the United States Marines do not leave their brothers behind. Through the thick, choking gray smoke, a figure sprinted across the open street. It was Gunny Thorne. Bullets skipped off the dirt around his boots, but he didn't even flinch. He dove behind the wall next to the young corporal. "You don't get to die today, devil dog." Thorne roared over the gunfire, pulling a tourniquet from his vest and cranking it down hard on Cole's leg. "Gunny, there's too many of 'em. You gotta leave me." Cole choked out, spitting dust and blood. Thorne grabbed Cole by his tactical vest, his eyes burning with a fierce, unconditional fire. "I didn't train you to give up, son. We are walking out of this valley together." Thorne threw Cole over his broad shoulders, carrying him in a fireman's carry. He stood up into the storm of lead and started running toward the extraction point. 10 yards, 20 yards. The medevac chopper was hovering just ahead, kicking up a massive sandstorm. And then Cole felt the gunny's body flinch. A single, devastating sniper round had found the gap in Thorne's armor. The medevac and the final words. They collapsed into the back of the Black Hawk helicopter. The corpsman immediately ripped open Thorne's gear, his hands covered in the gunny's blood. Desperately trying to stop the bleeding, Cole dragged his own wounded body across the metal floor. He grabbed Thorne's hand. The tough, unbreakable Gunny was pale. His breathing was shallow. Thorne slowly turned his head toward the young Marine. With a trembling, blood-stained hand, He reached up and unclasped his own dog tags. He pressed the cold metal into Cole's trembling palm. "Make it count, kid," Thorne whispered, his voice barely audible over the roaring helicopter blades. "Make this life count, Semper. Thorne's eyes locked onto the roof of the chopper, and the fierce fire in them finally faded away. Gunnery Sergeant Marcus Thorne was gone. Arlington and the revelation. 10 years later, the winter wind howled through the endless rows of white marble at Arlington National Cemetery. Evan Cole was 29 now. An honorable discharge, a decent job, a quiet life. But the survivor's guilt had been eating him alive for a decade. Every night he asked the same question. Why me? Why did the greatest Marine he ever knew trade his life for a broken kid from Ohio? As he stood freezing over the grave, he heard footsteps crunching in the snow. It was Gunny Thorne's widow, Sarah. She was holding a small, weathered leather journal. She stood next to Cole, looking down at the carved marble. "He never stopped talking about you, Evan," she said softly. Cole wiped a tear from his cheek. "I don't understand, ma'am. Why did he do it? Why did he sacrifice everything for me?" Sarah placed her gentle hand on his shoulder. She handed him the journal, opened to a page dated just 1 week before that fatal ambush. Cole read the gunny's messy handwriting through his blurred vision. "I look at Corporal Cole, and I see the son I lost to cancer 5 years ago. God took my boy before he could grow into a man. But he gave me a second chance out here in the desert. If it comes down to it, I won't let death take this one too. I will bring my boy home." Cole fell to his knees in the cold snow. He finally understood. Gunnery Sergeant Thorne didn't just save a Marine that day. A father had finally saved his son. Cole clutched the old dog tags hanging around his neck, looking up at the gray sky. "I'll make it count, Dad. Semper Fi."